On this episode of the Travel More podcast, Summer School Edition, we share a cautionary tale of when booking a room through a third party went wrong. If your go-to for booking travel is to visit Expedia, Priceline, or browse through your credit card travel portal, keep listening. Learn when and how to use these tools, and more importantly, what to avoid before booking your next trip.
Welcome to the Travel More podcast.
Each episode, we share custom itineraries, travel hacks, expert advice, and even stories of our past travel failures to help you level up your travel game.
I'm Shelly, a lover of plans, itineraries, and cheap flights. I'm an expert deal finder with one eye always on the budget.
And I'm Bruce, the improviser, ready to pick up where plans fail to turn letdowns into unexpected trip favorites. We're here to bust through barriers that stop you from making your travel dreams a reality.
So book that flight, buy the tickets, and say hello to your next adventure.
This is the Travel More podcast.
Welcome back to the Travel More podcast.
Welcome. You stole my intro.
I was really about to say that.
I opened my mouth and took a breath, and Shelly was already there.
Oh, well. I got to do it.
I have really one job now.
All right, so today on Summer School, we are talking about why you shouldn't use Expedia to book your next trip. But actually, it's why you shouldn't use any third-party apps. We're not out to get Expedia.
No.
Specifically.
Maybe.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, I've used Expedia before, and it has worked sometimes. It's not like it's like this super evil conglomerate or anything.
No.
It's just that it's just not the best way to travel. And we're going to talk about today two big reasons, and two sounds like a small number, but they're big reasons that we wouldn't use third-party apps, and then one reason we would.
Right.
I was going to say, keep everyone on their toes.
Even just one of those reasons is enough to no thanks.
Yeah, right.
And I think that we've come a long way, because when Expedia started, and then you had Travelocity, Booking.com, all these other things, it was really the change of the travel industry towards I can book things myself without calling.
Yeah,
or using it.
Agent.
Yeah, in a traditional way. Now there's the internet, but because there's so much information and there's so many competing sites, I think that value has kind of gone away.
Yeah,
and people are looking more for someone to help with that, or just call the hotel directly.
I also think that in the beginning they were legitimate deals you could get through Expedia, Booking, all those things, and now it's more of a perceived deal because and we're gonna talk about this later, but Yep. It's not necessarily as good of a deal as it looks.
Yes.
I'll say that.
Yes. Yeah. So the value has changed,
yeah.
and on top of just search fatigue when looking. So anyway, why don't we get into our first big reason
of why not to use them?
Yes.
And the second one's even better. So if you're okay, whatever. No, the second one is even the real one, but this is a good one too.
Keep listening.
Yeah. One, loyalty. So booking a Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, all those things through a third party is going to put you on the low end of the totem pole in terms of any type of upgrade or any kind of favors they're going to do for you. Pretty much none at all.
Yeah, no, you're third class on the Titanic. They're closing the gates. Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, they're just not going to help you. I mean, it's not because they're mad at you. It's just that their system, it doesn't recognize it the same way as it does a direct booking.
Yeah, there's nothing prompting their concierge staff to upgrade you.
Right, exactly. And in fact, it can be even worse than that. We'll get that in just a second. So there will almost certainly be no upgrades, no special treatment of any kind, and you will be leaving points that you could have made on that booking on the table. So it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but I just for funsies put a potential booking through my own personal booking, I don't know why I say this, strategy, I guess. And I will show you how this could add up. Okay. So I feel I should be doing the thing where you crack your knuckles. If you could see me right now, yes. I'd be stretching, here you go. Here's how I would do this. Let's say you want to stay at a Holiday Inn. So if you look up IHG, that's the Holiday Inn, big brand, on Rakuten, which is that cashback portal that everyone should have because it's free and it's easy.
Definitely. If you haven't done it yet, go make a Rakuten account.
Yeah.
And
I'll put it in the show notes because
yes.
it's just so easy. I mean, first of all, you just get cash back. Even if you're not going to use points and miles, what are you doing not getting cash back if you can?
Yeah.
But if you are using points and miles, you can literally earn miles on it. So I'll talk about that now. So if I have the Rakuten account, I put IHG on there and I see, and currently as we're recording this, these are all the deals that are happening right now. They have a 10 times cashback offer right now. Instead of cashback on Rakuten, I have it set up to earn Amex points because we have an Amex account. So I will earn 10 times Amex points on that purchase. And it will Rakuten just takes me to the site. So it's not like it's through Rakuten. It's just taking me through. It's like a cashback portal.
It's just a plugin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sign into my IHG account like I normally would to make this booking. And because of that, I'm also going to earn my IHG, points on my own account. And they have another bonus through IHG, not through Rakuten. That's 8 times the points, or 8,000 points, I should say, on 4 nights, plus whatever I'm then making on the actual booking. So if it's $200 a night, and it's 4 nights, 2 for 6, 800 points plus the 8,000 points because I booked at least 4 nights, plus 10 times Amex points because I used the Rakuten portal, plus I'm going to book that with my Capital One Venture card. Like that's what it's actually going to be charged to. So that's going to earn me 2 times the points on Capital One. So yes, it doesn't seem like that many points when you're only spending $800. You're like, well, that's 800 points. No, it's not. It's a lot more points and a lot of different ecosystems that you are literally just leaving on the table to use Expedia.
See, I thought this was summer school for travel, not math.
Yeah.
This is quite a lot. But anyway, you should, if you rewind that and listen to it one more time, you're going to notice there's like 3 times the multipliers because of booking direct, using a plugin, and having the right credit cards.
Yes.
So if you did that on a third-party site, you would get some of the bonuses, right?
You would get I would still get Capital One points because I'm using Capital One.
You might even get Rakuten, but the chances are it would be lower if it's even there.
Right, you could get Rakuten if they have an Expedia
or
deal.
Booking.com
or Booking.com
or
Hotels.com, yeah. But you wouldn't get the points like also towards your
the Holiday Inn kind of
your
loyalty.
actual account.
Yes.
Yeah. Plus, again, if there were any type of upgrades or any, all those kind of things, you're not going to be probably eligible for any of those. And you won't get any free nights. You won't get any of the other stuff.
You lose a lot of things. So not only does it multiply points across various economies, but it's like it's just so much nicer when you show up and they instantly see that you are some level or status member.
Yeah.
And almost always you're going to be offered various things.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're like a status of literally like I signed up for an account, you still get like free Wi-Fi or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's always like something.
That's why it's so worth it because I think we did for our Marriott, like we're not an elite Marriott stay. No. We're not traveling for business, but I think more than once, multiple times we've booked or we've gotten to the hotel and they've upgraded our room.
Yeah.
Just because they can.
Yeah. And again, we are not like high loyalty members.
No, that's like literally open an account and we have the Marriott credit card.
Yeah, which gives us a free night every night. So it's not even like they're really getting much out of us. Yeah. We stay like 3 or 4 nights in Marriott's a year. So it's not like we're staying 50. So that's one. Is just that you're leaving loyalty points on the table every single time you book something through a third party.
Okay, so our second big reason is probably even more of a big deal.
Yeah.
Maybe this should be our number 1 reason, even though it's our second.
It is.
On
We're
the
just
list.
counting down.
Yeah, we're counting. Oh, we're counting down. Yes. So it's really about flexibility. When you book through a third party, the booking is controlled by them and not the company you're using.
Yeah. So if I'm booking like a hotel or a flight through Expedia is in control of that booking. Like, yes, it has gone obviously to the company you're using because it has to. Well, you hope it has, which we're going to talk about in a second. But they really control it. So if something happens, right now I feel like every other day I see people's like flights getting canceled or delayed.
That's the worst. For flights, it's even worse than hotels.
Yeah. They're not going to help you. They're going to say to call Expedia.
Yes.
Or call wherever you booked it from. You know what I mean?
It's just a third-party middleman that's going to make your life hell.
Yeah.
Flights are the worst.
Yes, they are.
Anytime you book, this is why when Shelly and I use our Capital One travel credit, we will pretty much always exclusively do a hotel.
Yes, yeah.
Instead of using it for flights for this very reason.
Yes.
Because I don't want to have to call Capital One and get a random person to then third-party deal with something like that.
Yeah, and actually, as we're talking about this right now, I just remembered another time when we have 2 examples of when this really came back to bite us in the butt, but I actually think of a third one. Which was maybe one of the worst of all because it never was figured out.
Tell me. I forgot. I was like, what is it?
Is when we went to Greece and we had booked.
Oh no. Okay, wait. This is bad. So not only were we really sleep deprived, but we had pre-ordered a taxi.
But through Booking or hotel. I can't remember which one. Was it Booking.com?
Yes. And then you get into the whole how good is my data plan on my cell phone? And now I'm trying to talk to them and the guy that I'm.
Wait, I think we skipped a step. We booked a taxi. We had arranged a ride.
A pickup
from the airport. and they never came.
No, I thought, did they never come or did they come and leave?
I'm not really sure.
All I know is this is what happened.
All I know is we did not get in the car.
No, this is what happened. Because they called their third party, and this is, think about it, Booking.com is doing some concierge service to get a taxi for you everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So there's no way of knowing, like, who are they calling? How are they talking to them? It was a nightmare. It would have been so much easier to just, like, figure a taxi out in a different way.
Yeah.
This is probably not the case every time, obviously. But
no, because we have also gotten a private driver or whatever in
London.
In London, and that actually works really well. So it doesn't always.
I think you got to know where you're going, because honestly, it reminds me of if you buy something from Lowe's or a hardware store, and it's like let's say like a fridge, and they're like, "We'll deliver," and no, they don't deliver. They have some other company that delivers, and you have no idea if they're going to be good at their job or not.
Yeah.
So it's similar to that, but
we got stranded in Greece is the end of that story, and we had to like get a taxi like from someone just sitting there.
He
and
totally
we got
charged me like triple the rate.
That's
and I feel like that kind of is classic in Athens, and taxis. I don't know. I hate taxis everywhere I go. But anyway, that was, oh my gosh, that is worse than what I was about to say, which was literally just a minor inconvenience, but still annoying. So we booked a hotel when we went to visit family in Memphis. Yeah. And I don't know what it was when I went to check in, but there just was an issue with how it was paid for. That's what it was. There was no card on file. Or the card didn't work because I used the travel credit for it. And then so essentially I had to call my bank, and then while I was on hold with them, they called the concierge, and literally it was just this triangulation. It wasn't a huge deal, because I will say Capital One's customer service has always been exceptional, but it's still a little frustrating.
Well, we have the baby, and we're like waiting for the room, and we have all the stuff. It's just nothing you want to sit in the lobby for
after traveling. So it was like a 30-minute wait time for something very simple. That no one was like at fault for, and everyone was very kind. But this is what happens when you book through third party.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And then one other one is that, cancellation policies that the hotel have aren't necessarily the same as the booking site.
Yes.
Sometimes they're better, I guess, but most of the time they're not. And so another time this happened for us is during the whole COVID shutdown, we had a reservation to stay for 3 nights or something at a hotel. Obviously it got canceled because COVID happened. It was like literally like March, like when everything shut down.
Yep.
So we called and we were like, yeah, we're not going because we can't. And then they were like, well, you booked through, what was it? Priceline.
Yeah. Negotiator.
Yeah.
I just think about the commercial.
I do too. So they were like, you got to call them. And then we called them and they were like, well, you booked a non-refundable fare. And we're like, well, yeah, but like the world is shut down. So it like can you work with us? And they're kind of like, nope. Like, you booked a non-refundable fare. And we're like, well, that's awesome. So we just kind of ate the cost and that was a time when we were not making a lot of money. No. So that was a hit for us. But yeah, so the hotel would have gladly refunded it. Like they were like, sorry, like we can't because they're not, and it's stuck.
Right. The money's already like held up by the other third party.
Yeah. So it was all kinds of funky, and they were like, we're really sorry about this. Like, well, we can't help you. So that's another thing where it's like, if something happens, if you're late, like we've been late for a booking before because of a delayed flight and we had to come the next day. Actually, we ended up never going to that hotel because we ended up just going, remember?
Yes.
This was either a Hyatt or a Marriott, and we had to just completely cancel the night, even though it was also, well, it wasn't non-refundable, but it was literally the day we were supposed to be there.
I think, is this when we flew down to Disney?
I think
Orlando,
so.
And we had
like missed a flight, or not, we didn't miss a flight. We got canceled maybe, and so we missed a day. So we had to come in the next day, I think, and that's when another one of our reservations was starting. So it was like, we're not going to stay at this other hotel at all, because it was just to keep us over until our real reservation started.
Right.
And they were super nice, and they canceled it, and it wasn't a big deal. And they were like, so sorry your flight was delayed, even though it's kind technically of like, the cancellation policy said that like we're within the day. So.
When I work for a small bed and breakfast, and I could tell you firsthand, like Booking.com is usually used because, especially in the United States, people who are searching from outside the United States, Booking.com for whatever reason is easier to like find places. Yeah. And it's just a way of marketing and getting, like, especially slower times of year, you can list a couple rooms on Booking.com. It may not be all of them.
Yeah.
So it's just a way to get your, business
name
out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, that means it kind of takes it out of the hotel or wherever it takes us out of our hands when you do that. And this is another example of that. It's like when if there's something happens like during COVID, or like we totally missed the flight got messed up because of weather.
Yeah.
Even though you're like not within their cancellation policy, because it's directly with the company, they can do a lot more for you as opposed to, you know, having it come from another place.
Yeah, which they're just kind of like, well, sorry, you signed off on it.
It's the same way as like booking direct and having the loyalty aspect.
Exactly.
You know?
So all that being said, there are times that we do use third parties. And we actually are currently booked. We have this whole episode about not using it. And then right now, currently today, we have 2 hotels booked.
It's not a never or always. It's just a when should and should you not.
Yeah.
That's really what it's about.
So the time that we do, there's 2 reasons that we do. One is when we have to use travel credits. So we have the Capital One Venture card. It comes with $300 a year. Like travel credits, we're going to use those, and they have to be used through the portal.
Yep.
Now, like Bruce said, we always book hotels or like rental cars as part of that $300. We never book flights because, again, even with the travel portal, like we're not going to chance the flights.
No, it's not worth it.
No, I don't want to be in the airport trying to talk to a like portal. I just don't want to. So, hotels or the cars. That's like what we use that $300 for. So of course, like we have to do that to use it. So we do that. And you just heard about how that can get kind of funky, but it's worth it still because it's $300. And then the other time that we use it, the reason that we have it right now is if we're going to a place that is a little more remote, that like doesn't, like their hotels may not have the best or easy to use websites, or they're kind of hard to find, or they're hard to find reviews for, they're not in the same language, you know, something that it just feels like it's a little harder to do it direct.
Yep.
Or when you're looking, you're just not sure like what amenities you're getting, but it's a lot easier to see on maybe like a booking.com.
Yeah, because the places will typically be listed on like a booking.com.
Yeah, and they have a very like specific way they list. So it's easy, you know exactly what you're looking for because they list the same things for every hotel that they like show. You know what I mean? So it's like, do I have a shared bathroom? Do I have a private bathroom? Like they're going to tell you on booking.com. But it may be hard to tell if you have one or not on the original website.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes.
So anyways, we're going to Panama, and the hotels in Panama City are just regular hotels. But when you get a little more outside the city, not all of them have the best or easiest to use websites.
Well, they're more mom and pop, smaller establishments, and therefore they kind of are relying on the third-party apps, I think, to
in a lot
push
of
their
ways.
business out. Kind of like what I said before about the small bed and breakfast.
Exactly. So in that case, we are using the booking.com because the cancellation policy is really like straightforward, as opposed to like online. It's kind of hard to tell from their own websites. The amenities that you're booking, like I said, shared bathroom versus private bathroom, like those kind of things they're harder to kind of just figure out on the regular website.
Right, and usually the booking.com is going to, when they're listing it, they're probably literally checking the boxes to say they have it or not.
Yeah.
And there's almost always an option to message the owner or manager through the platform.
Yes.
And I found that to be very successful. Like even when we went to London, we used booking.com for one thing.
Yep.
And we were able to communicate with them.
Yeah.
And I think it was because the hotels were so expensive that instead of going for big name brand ones, we found those like smaller establishments. And that's actually a good point. So if you're going to look for those more mom and pop places, sometimes booking.com is better.
No, absolutely. And I remember that London one too, because again, I went to their website and I was like, I cannot figure out what kind of room we're getting here.
No.
Yeah. So that's fine. And that hotel was great. So there's,
awesome.
It's one of those things where it's not like they're lesser quality hotels. They're just a little harder to navigate because they are smaller. And in that case, we will do booking.com. And that's really our go-to. We don't really use Expedia ever. So booking.com is our go-to on that one. So if you want to use the same one we do. Though, I'm not saying Expedia is bad. I just have never really used it.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, booking.com, there are reasons to use it, but not always. And then also, we mentioned this, so I do want to kind of circle back to it. The idea of the deals. Very often I have been like, oh, look how good this, deal is. It doesn't look as good on X, Y, or Z website. But then if I actually go to the like direct website, they either will match it or it's even better actually.
I know, and that's the thing that I think used to be a bigger, I don't
like
know what
poll,
it was. Yeah, like a Travelocity, like all these, they used to, we're going to sift through all the websites and find you the best deal. And I just don't think that's the case anymore.
Well, they will, but I think that often the best deal ends up being direct because obviously, like why would you, it's kind of like Uber Eats or something. It's like, if you come to the restaurant, it's going to be cheaper. I mean, that's a little different, but you know what I mean? It's like, of course they're going to be cheaper offering it direct because they want you ultimately to book direct because then they're not having to pay the fees of the other places. Yeah. So if you look, it's typically something like, oh, it's technically cheaper on booking.com, but if you do it direct, it's literally $2 more expensive and you get breakfast every day or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like, because obviously they can't undercut themselves on the other.
Or it'll make it look pressured and it'll be like, there's 2 rooms left at this price. And you're like, oh, they're almost booked fully. And it's like, well, the hotel probably only gave Expedia 10 rooms, 10 queen standards. Yeah. But the full, you know,
they have 50 rooms. Yeah, right.
So you gotta pay attention to that.
Yeah, absolutely. But that is our breakdown of when we would and would not use third party. Pretty much would not. But every once in a while, there comes a time.
Yes, indeed.
So thanks again for listening to Summer School, and we will see you next week.
See ya.
Did you know that every time you book a Disney or Universal vacation, you're paying for a service that you may not even be using?
Really?
That's right. Travel agent costs are added to your Disney or Universal vacation, whether you use one or not.
So you're telling me that I'm paying for something even though I'm not getting the help?
You got it. So next time you want to book a theme park vacation, make your money work for you. By booking with Magic Pass Travel, you'll get our expertise and years of experience without paying any extra and while supporting a small business.
Check out our show notes to find our contact information.
Can't wait to help you plan your next adventure.